Tobago, good morning. It is 6:27 a.m. Let me take this time to welcome you to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavian Cupid, and indeed it is a pleasure to be seated here before you. We are coming to you live from the Port Mall, downtown Scarborough, Tobago. Today is Monday, the 5th of January, 2026. Have to make sure that I nail that this morning, 2026 and not 2025. Schools have reopened. The persons who probably were on vacation are back out. We are out of the Yuletide season, well into the election season and the carnival season. Thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise. It is the last week as we head to the polls on Monday, January 12, 2026. And of course, Tobago Updates Television, we are the premier and ideal television station to take you through every single interview, every single podium, and every single update that you will need to take you down to that moment, to probably even assist you in making that decision, because you need to be informed on that day to know where you are going to place that X on that ballot. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And as usual, I take you right into the morning brief as we keep you updated with all things current affairs right here in Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is a wider entity, regionally and internationally. Kickstarting the morning, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has dismissed claims that the recent U.S. attacks in Venezuela pose a crisis for Trinidad and Tobago, saying citizens remain unaffected and daily life continues as normal. In a statement posted on X on Sunday, Persad-Bissessar said developments in Venezuela, quote, have nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago, describing suggestions of instability as manufactured, and urged the citizens not to be concerned, further reaffirming Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to positive relations with Venezuela, expressing hope for renewed cooperation and wishing the Venezuelan people a transition to democracy and prosperity. She also clarified that the Dragon Gas project belongs to Venezuela and said Trinidad and Tobago does not seek Venezuelan assets, while noting she was unsurprised by a U.S. indictment of Nicolas Maduro and related allegations, suggesting further revelations may emerge as the situation unfolds. Opposition leader Penelope Beckles has echoed the sentiments of many online commenters questioning the absence of Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar from yesterday's press conference. Taken to social media, Beckles said both the media and the public were left with two ministers who appeared unable to provide clear answers on key national issues. She said TNT, quote, cannot be expected to accept a prime minister who seems unwilling to make herself available to the media and, more importantly, to the people she was elected to serve, end quotes. PNM stalwart Dr. Edward Eddie Hart and former Member of Parliament for Tunapuna and renowned community leader has died at the age of 89. Born in 1936 and shaped by a challenging childhood that included time in an orphanage, Hart rose to become a key grassroots figure in the PNM, serving more than 15 years in Parliament and holding several ministerial and parliamentary roles. He was widely respected for his dedication to youth and community development and founded the Eddie Hart Football League and the Hart Connection, leaving a lasting legacy in sport and social advocacy, and was awarded an honorary doctorate by UTT in 2020. All right, and moving over to some news regionally, Venezuela has issued a message to the international community and the United States, reaffirming its commitment to peace, sovereignty, and non-interference, while calling for improved diplomatic relations based on mutual respect. In a statement attributed to Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who is now the acting president of Venezuela, the government said it seeks a peaceful coexistence and international cooperation. and invited the U.S. to pursue a cooperative agenda focused on shared development with international law. The message also emphasized President Nicolas Maduro's position that dialogue, not conflict, should guide relations, asserting Venezuela's right to peace, development, sovereignty, and a secure future. And finally, internationally, widespread demonstrations have broken out across the globe following reports of United States military strikes on Venezuela. Footage from major international cities, including Paris, Athens, Barcelona, Sao Paulo, depicts thousands of protesters taken to the streets to condemn the intervention. In Paris and Athens, demonstrators were seen waving Venezuelan flags and lighting flares while chants denouncing U.S. imperialism echoed through city centers. In Barcelona, protesters were recorded burning American flags, holding signs that demanded Yankees leave Latin America. The sentiment was mirrored in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where marchers called for the protection of Venezuelan sovereignty against what they termed foreign aggression. The unrest has also reached within the United States borders in New York City and outside the White House in Washington, D.C. Coalitions of anti-war activists gathered with placards reading, "Hands off Venezuela" and "Stop bombing Venezuela." Speakers at these rallies criticized the administration, arguing that the military actions were unauthorized and driven by ulterior motives rather than national security. The protests highlight a deepening international rift and significant public opposition to the escalation of conflict in the region. That's it for your morning brief, keeping you updated with current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago as a wider entity, regionally and internationally. We see a global outcry for Venezuela. Venezuela being invaded, as some would say, but the US say that they are seeking to restore democracy in Venezuela. But then on the back foot, President Trump saying major oil companies based in the US are going to go in and restart and invest billions that have to be repaid eventually. Question looms, was it really about narco-terrorism or was it about regime change and oil? As the neighbors to Venezuela, we in Trinidad and Tobago, we are paying attention, of course. We did see the military buildup. Prime Minister Kamala Bissesa, they come out and publicly align Trinidad and Tobago with the United States as an ally. I think one would be foolish to think that because Nicolas Maduro was flown out, that is it. We must think that he does have loyal supporters within Venezuela. And probably this was already discussed. Probably there's another plan. We don't know, but we cannot take our eyes off these geopolitical tensions, and we cannot think that it is over. We are going to jump right into conversations right here this morning on Sunrise. It is the week leading up to the Tobago House of Assembly election, but also we have this geopolitical tension right at our doorstep. We saw yesterday a press conference being held strangely at the United National Congress headquarters in Shoguanas. The flyer said UNC press conference, not a national security press conference. None of the national security ministers were there. The Prime Minister was absent as well. We had Foreign Minister Sean Sobers and the two ministers from HDC, from the Housing Development Corporation. And many are concerned as to why the head of the National Security Council, who is Prime Minister Kamala Bissesa, was absent. What does that say about the sitting administration and the passing down of information to citizens? Are citizens still being blindsided? Do they feel blindsided? Are they still seeking information from outside media sources because our very own media sources here are unable to get the information to bring to you? Well, this morning we dive into those conversations along with Trinidad and Tobago's posture in this geopolitical tension as we speak to none other than Dr. Winford James. Dr. James, good morning and thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise. Let me extend compliments of this season. Well, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, are you receiving me?
Yes, sir. I am hearing you loud
You're
and
hearing
clear.
me well?
Yes, sir, I am.
Because I was trying to pick you up through my earphones, but it's not happening.
All right.
Well, Happy New Year to your good self as well.
Thank you,
And
sir.
may 2026 bring you some pleasant memories that you did not even anticipate.
I am going to claim that. Thank you very much,
Ah,
sir. I appreciate that. All right, so we're diving right into the conversation this
yes.
morning. Now, we're speaking about the political climate here in Trinidad and Tobago, but not so much just the political climate, but Trinidad and Tobago's posture right now as we have had the U.S. intervention into Venezuela. We had the build-up, we had the Armada here, everyone was just sitting wondering whether it was just posturing, whether it was some sort of bullying, were they really going to go into Venezuela? President Trump did. We have reports of at least 40 persons in Venezuela that were killed during the intervention. Nicolas Maduro and his wife escorted, flown out. Some are saying kidnapped, and the U.S. is saying arrested. But Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar not making a presence to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, but rather sending proxies. What do you think that signals from her government to the public, sir?
Well, it depends on how much democracy you want. If, like me, you want democracy which is as open as possible, then even though Mrs. Prasad Bissessar had no real reason to hold a press conference because of she was, as she claimed, she was not a participant. Trinidad and Tobago was not a participant in the aggression against, but they didn't even use that word, in the attack, the strike against Venezuela. Even though that is the case, the point is we, the citizenry, because of her embrace of the United States and its position against Venezuela, expected her to come to the press conference and face questions. And the question that arises, one of them, is whether in fact there was a fear that she might be bombarded with questions which would be very difficult politically for her to answer. So the best thing for her was to post on Facebook and YouTube and so on what her position was. And her position, quite clearly, is that Trinidad and Tobago was not involved. However, in the build up to the strike, one cannot doubt that Trinidad and Tobago was on the side of the Americans. May not have been a participant, but even the statement that she made, or her party made, we get a very clear sense that Mrs. Prasad Bissessar regards Nicolas Maduro's governance, regards that governance as shot through with support for the United States. She didn't come out and say so. And of course, against Maduro, because what she's saying is that Maduro is a dictator. He has imprisoned and tortured and executed, that is his regime, thousands of Venezuelans over the years. So she's clearly saying, we support, but she has not said so in actual words. We support the strike. And a question that would have been asked is, did you support the strike? Well, she has not answered that question because she was not there. But based on her words, it appears that she's saying, we think that, just like the United States, we think that Maduro is a dictator. We think that he has brutalized his people. And it's a good thing that America can go in and strike Caracas and related towns because of what they are claiming is narco terrorism. Yes?
Yeah. Dr. James, let me ask you though, because in the indictment for Nicolas Maduro, the U.S. New York court is saying that unnamed politicians in the Caribbean were also involved
Yes.
and benefactors of Nicolas Maduro's alleged narco trade. Prime Minister Kamala Persad specifically retweeted that. And I mean, I want to speak a bit about her medium of communication to people in recent times. But before we get to that, she retweeted that part specifically. And
Yeah.
it gives a connotation of an attack to political enemies. An assertion that it may be her political enemies. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, I don't want to speculate too much. We don't know. The facts are not out. There are charges being made, and we must not honor those charges except we have facts to support the charges. So we need to wait and get more information that would allow us to talk sensibly. But we run the risk, just like Mrs. Prasad says, though apparently she doesn't mind, we run the risk of saying that you support one side of the equation without having the facts. But she doesn't seem to mind because she regards the United States as being very credible. In fact, more credible than anybody else in the Caribbean, not even her colleagues in CARICOM. So there is that credibility that she is crediting the United States actions with, that it's difficult for many of us to go along with because we don't have the facts. Crimes have been committed. People are being bombed out of the waters near Trinidad and Tobago, near Venezuela. And there are no explanations given, no statements, no proof has been provided with respect to that kind of action. And now we have an actual invasion of a sovereign territory. We have that invasion, and it's very difficult for people like me to accept that that is okay. There is international law, you know. There is the United Nations Charter. There are laws that we have set up. The world seems to be going in the direction of support for international rules of behavior. But America, of course, is not a signatory to International Court of Justice, for example. America cannot be brought before those courts. But America itself is saying we are the champions of democracy. We are the champions of good government. And here is Nicolas Maduro breaking those laws, terrorizing his own people, brutalizing his own people. And we are the policemen of the Caribbean, and we are going to go in on the strength of that. But we must not forget, you know, it is America that is the aggressor in this matter. It's not Trinidad and Tobago. So that even if there is a collusion in terms of their politics, except somebody brings the evidence, we don't know that Trinidad and Tobago was involved in this. She denies it. She denies it.
Right.
But we don't know. But we must not forget, and we must not put the blame on Trinidad and Tobago. We must not forget, it is not Trinidad and Tobago that has invaded Venezuela. It is the United States, right? And it has done so in full glare of the international public. Full glare. And the question is, can we as nations, without the power, without the assets, can we do anything against aggression of a very naked aggression on the part of the United States? You understand what I'm trying to say here?
Right. Yes. So let me ask you though, and history has taught us that U.S. invasion into countries and regime changes never worked out. You usually, the countries end up in an even worse state. My question to you is, if it is that Trinidad and Tobago is pinpointed as an aid to what would have happened in Venezuela, how do you think that Trinidad and Tobago, history would remember Trinidad and Tobago in this point, or even CARICOM will even look at Trinidad and Tobago in this point?
Very simply, they're going to condemn Trinidad and Tobago for its role. But Trinidad and Tobago, remember, is looking at the matter in economic terms. Trinidad and Tobago wants to align itself, it has aligned itself with the United States in order to get economic advantage. And part of the economic advantage is natural gas, the gas in Venezuelan waters, right? And you know that there was a process begun when Dr. Rowley was in charge. It doesn't mean, of course, that a new government is bound by what an old government has done. But there can be no doubt that there was an attempt being made to run an 18-kilometer line from Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago. For that line would bring fuel that would be, processed in a way that Venezuela cannot. And then, of course, the question of the use of U.S. dollars. First of all, it's the license, the OFAC license, that you have to go through in order to get things done. But if the Americans are putting sanctions on Venezuela for reasons that are suspect, then it's going to be very difficult later on when the story is written to say that Trinidad and Tobago did the right things. And they probably got through. We don't know that yet. They probably got through in siding with the Americans, even though there is abuse of the directions in which nations, progressive nations, want to go, even though there is abuse of international law, even though there is criminality, right? Quite clearly, a crime has been committed against Venezuela and in Venezuela there. You have to say these things very clearly.
So either way, so Trinidad and Tobago may go down in history as a villain, whether it is that you sided with a bully or whether it is you benefited from the bullying. Trinidad and Tobago may go down in history as a villain.
Inescapable. That approach is inescapable. When the academics get down to writing the story, they have to tell the truth because we depend on facts. Yeah? So they can't escape that. But they don't mind because there is current day advantage. There's advantage today at the moment of execution. That advantage is going the American way and Trinidad and Tobago's way. Trinidad and Tobago, for example, can revive, I think, at least theoretically, revive the deal with Maduro with respect to the natural gas, the gas. So I'm just saying, at the moment, it doesn't matter what history says. But history will be damning of what the Americans have done.
I think it was Hugo
But we
Chavez
must not forget,
that said, history. I think it was Hugo Chavez that said history will absolve him. But sir, I want to ask you, though, even as we are on this particular point, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar, from April 29th to now, her medium of communication has been tweets and on Twitter. She'll make a statement on Twitter, and most of the times we have proxies, we have ministers, a lot we see Sean Sobers coming out to speak to the public, but hardly ever the Prime Minister. There's no confirmation whether or not she will be attending the CARICOM sitting in St. Kitts come this February. Even the Foreign Affairs Minister yesterday, he said information will be dispensed to the public as the time comes closer on the delegation that will be going to the CARICOM Heads of State meeting. Not that the Prime Minister will be going, but the delegation. So yes, the country still holds our breath. What are your comments, sir, on the Prime Minister's chosen way of communicating through proxies and through Twitter?
Earlier, I said that the Prime Minister has her own style. There might be an expectation that she should attend conferences, even those that she has not called. People want to talk to her all the time. She clearly doesn't have the time to talk to everybody all the time. And she clearly doesn't have the time to gather herself, gather the information, compose what she has to say to the public. It's a lot. And you can't, a prime minister can't keep going from press conference to press conference, even though she's a player in relation to what the press conference seeks to clarify, right? So we got to say that. But there are people who want more democracy. Come and face the music, especially if you believe in the stances that you have expressed publicly. Come and face the music. So I'm wondering, I'm not accusing her of this, but I'm wondering, is she fearful of something? Because if you
Avoidance?
really be, huh?
Avoidance of something?
Yes, you're avoiding something because you don't want to face that kind of music. Probably, but we don't know. But information is coming out, but information determined by her on her side without any clarification, without any expansion, which the media are always interested in. So you must say that most people would disagree with her stance of avoidance, to use your word. Most people prefer come and talk to us. It's clear that she's not a friend of the Maduro government. It is quite clear she believes that there is no democracy there. But the question is whether the Americans have any right at all to impose their sense of what is right and wrong on a sovereign nation. Obviously, the Americans are wrong, but they have the might, they have the power. So they can be wrong and strong. Might is right for the Americans. And for me, they have no credibility whatsoever. But I can't fight them. Nobody in the Caribbean can fight them. Not even the big countries of NATO can fight them, right? Because there are all kinds of issues across the globe which would, advise bigger nations to steer clear of what is
Yeah.
happening here. But
Yeah, indeed. There's so much I want to talk to you on this topic because I even want to ask you, Dr. James, if you think that Trinidad and Tobago, that the sitting United National Congress administration could still stand on their affiliation with the U.S. military being narco-terrorism, even after what President Trump would have said, even after he would have said, we are going to go in there with our big oil companies, we're going to spend billions, the billions are going to be repaid, and we're going to boom the Venezuela's oil companies, oil reserves again. Could the sitting United National Congress administration still say, yes, all of this that we did before with the U.S. military, it was because of narco-terrorism? Could they still stand on that, sir?
well, they can say so because the Americans are saying so. Once the Americans are saying so, and they probably might wait for the Americans to speak first. But once the Americans are saying, yes, there's narco terrorism, and they pick up the tune and sing it with the Americans, well, that's what they are interested in, the Americans. But we have to ask ourselves, where is that going eventually? What about our credibility as little nations, not interfering with anybody, right? But obviously a part of the geopolitical influence that the big countries, in this case America, want to exert over the Caribbean. I don't think we can escape that. We can only hope that they allow us to do our thing, our own governance and so on. We have to hope that they allow us to do these things and do these things from a sense of rightness. They think they're right because of the powers that they have, because of the economic assets that they have. Look at what they have done with the tariffs and so on. They think that they can do it. The question is, do we accept? I know some people do it, by the way. Do we accept Americans are free and they are justified in doing what they are doing. But one of the questions that obviously they are avoiding is, do you have countries in Latin America who are greater importers, exporters of cocaine and fentanyl and the others? Do we have countries that are greater violators of those things? And those who are in the know will tell you the drug scourge, the drug scourge is stronger in Mexico and Colombia and other
Europe
Latin
as
American
well,
countries.
because
Yes.
only 8%
So
of the
why
drugs
focus
going
on
into
Venezuela?
the US comes from, because only 8% of the drugs going into the US comes from Venezuela. But
There we go.
as we wrap this morning, my final question to you, sir. Right home here in Tobago, Monday, January 12, 2026, Tobago House of Assembly election. My question to you, with all that is happening with the geopolitical tensions, the United National Congress as a sitting administration and central government aligned with the U.S., and this purported alleged alignment of the Tobago People's Party with the United National Congress, do you see any fallout for the Tobago People's Party with the grievances that persons would have with the recent events, fallout for the Tobago People's Party on that basis?
Yeah, I mean to say, people are people, they will have different opinions, and therefore the PNM is trying to milk that weakness that has just erupted with respect to the campaign of TPP and IDA. PNM are the ones who will try to take advantage from the obvious disadvantage that the TPP is under. But they might find that people might not think that way. You know, people might think, we are going to judge Farley and his people based on what they have done, not what the Americans are doing. The question is how much they value sovereignty over home governance, and what the TPP is saying, far better governance in Tobago. That's the question. And can the PNM squeeze through on the basis of the fact that an ally of the TPP finds itself, from an international perspective, finds itself soured, finds itself not smelling as sweet, with respect to the politics in Tobago. But they could be running into self-delusion here, self-deception, because there are people who are reading, there are people who are still weighing what the PNM did over the last time they were in charge, both nationally and domestically in Tobago. There are people who are not going to be easily swayed. But yes, the PNM might think that here's an opportunity for us to milk this weakness that has arisen, right? Almost as if it is sent by the gods, to make the population act in such a way as to return them to power. But I doubt that they can sufficiently take advantage of the opening that has been presented to them.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. James. It was indeed my pleasure and honor speaking with you this morning. Thank you so much for starting off the election countdown week with me here on Sunrise. I want to wish you a wonderful day. All right.
Okay, same to you, girl.
Speaking to Dr. Winford James on Trinidad and Tobago's posture post the U.S. invading Venezuela. The programming here on Tobago Updates Television is not done, and I want to make sure that you wake up at 6:15 a.m. this week to join me, because we speak to candidates later on this week, but we also speak to political analysts and also past assemblymen. And we got a perspective going into the Tobago House of Assembly election come Monday, January 12th. We head on over to the morning show with the lovely Renessa and, of course, the handsome Akin Lavi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Lavian.
Good morning, Lavian.
Look at us, patriotic, red, white.
Yes. We're representing for Trinidad and Tobago this morning, Laviana.
Akilabi, it's so good to have you back, though.
Yes. It's very good to be back. I took a short Christmas break, Sometimes you just need to relax and spend some time with the family. And I know you all would have held on the fort very well.
We did. But it's so symbolic that we're in red, white, and black this morning as we head to the polls come Monday, January 12th. And the election base it's not heating up, it's hot.
Yeah.
We hot.
Yes. Things the parties are really gaining that momentum. We've seen both manifestos out, and it's up to the public to really sit down and make that determination in whose plans they think fit better for the future of Tobago.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yes, indeed.
And we need to make such informed decisions going forward as we head to the polls as well.
Yeah, I want to wish you all a really good show. I know you have a packed show for viewers as we head right down to Monday, January 12th. All right, viewers, so you're going to be going over to the morning show with Akinlabi and Renaissance. Thank you so much for waking up early and joining me here. Remember, tomorrow morning, we're going to be right here as we speak to candidates here on Sunrise, taking you into the Tobago House of Assembly election. Wishing you a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.
Welcome to Belgrove's Funeral Home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated, designed with serenity and warmth. It provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show. Today is Monday, the 5th of January 2026. We are in the new year, viewers. We are here in 2026. It is the first Monday. It is the first Monday of 2026, and it is the day that our children are back out to school. Yes, school starts today. I hope that you are up and you're ready to go. We're tackling the new year with a new vigor and energy. We're leaving the lack of energy behind in 2025, and we're tackling 2026 with all enthusiasm, and we're going to achieve everything that we want to achieve in this upcoming year. I'm joined in the studio by the lovely Miss Ortiz.
I cannot be having me blushing this morning. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning, and thank you for continuously joining us here at Tobago Updates morning show. It's always a pleasure to be here with you on a morning. I cannot wait so much that has been going on over the weekend.
Yes,
it's the question if it was a kidnapping or if it was actually an arrest, if it was an invasion.
That's the thing, really. You know what they say in geopolitics, might is right, and as long as you have the power to do what you want to do, you are justified in doing what you do. Trinidad and Tobago in the middle of this entire geopolitical mess, and we hope that we could kind of stay out of it as much as possible. We know we're already involved in some part, but let's try and stay as far away from that conflict as possible. And we have a lot of things to talk. We have the THA elections coming up in a week's time. Next week, Monday, we will be dipping our fingers to vote in an administration for the next 4 years. So we have a lot to talk about. The political hustings, they're heating up, and the rivalry is getting intense. We're seeing a lot of back and forth on social media and accusations of whatever misbehaviors persons are accusing each other of. But before we get into any conversations, whether it be politics or otherwise, we head to our news in 90 seconds.
And here's what's making news in 90 seconds for Monday, January 5th, 2026. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has dismissed claims that the recent U.S. attacks in Venezuela pose a crisis for Trinidad and Tobago, saying citizens remain unaffected and daily life continues as normal. In a statement posted on X on Sunday, Persad-Bissessar said developments in Venezuela, quote, have nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago, describing suggestions of instability as manufactured, and urged citizens not to be concerned. Further reaffirming Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to positive relations with Venezuela, expressing hope for renewed cooperation and wishing the Venezuelan people a transition to democracy and prosperity. She also clarified that the Dragon Gas project belongs to Venezuela and said Trinidad and Tobago does not seek Venezuelan assets, while noting she was unsurprised by a U.S. indictment of Nicolas Maduro and related allegations, suggesting further revelations may emerge as the situation unfolds. Up next, Opposition leader Penelope Beckles has echoed the sentiments of many online commenters questioning the absence of Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar from yesterday's press conference. Taking to social media, Beckles said the both media and public were left with two ministers who appeared unable to provide clear answers on key national issues. She said TNT, quote, cannot be expected to accept a Prime Minister who seems unwilling to make herself available to the media and, more importantly, to the people she was elected to serve, end quote. And finally, PNM stalwart Dr. Edward Eddie Hart and former Member of Parliament for Tunapuna and renowned community leader has died at the age of 89. Born in 1936 and shaped by a challenging childhood that included time in an orphanage, Hart rose to become a key grassroots figure in the PNM, serving more than 15 years in Parliament and holding several ministerial and parliamentary roles. He was widely respected for his dedication to youth and community development and founded the Eddie Hart Football League and the Hart Connection, leaving a lasting legacy in sport and social advocacy, and was awarded an honorary doctorate by UTT in 2020. These and other stories in all major newscasts at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, for that news in 90 seconds. And we'll see the geopolitical situation taking the floor in the news. Vanessa, the Prime Minister distancing the government and the people of Tobago from the actions of the United States over the holiday season. What are your thoughts?
I will just go to the second clip in the news where they were speaking about the ministers not being there to address the public, and I think that is something that is crucial within the public space when you are elected to serve. When there are times like this when you are the person who is there to give the information, to be held accountable, and you're not there, it sends a message, and a message that isn't very welcoming by the public, and that being called out by the opposition leader is within our right to ensure that we hold the present government in account to what they are supposed to do.
Yes, I know some persons took exception to the fact that the Prime Minister would have spoken on the incident via social media and not really come to address the public via press conference. But we know what the Prime Minister's stance is. She has made it clear via X. Her not being at the press conference, while it may leave us a bitter taste in some person's mouth, in my opinion, while it would have been best for her to be at the press conference, we still got word from her on her position and assuring TNT citizens that the government has the best interests at heart. We know some persons are not too well assured by that. We're still very much disturbed by the position that Trinidad and Tobago has taken in this entire thing. It's still a very divisive topic. And let's hope that the removal of Maduro is as far as this conflict will go and cooler heads will prevail, and then we can get back to a place of true peace in the Caribbean.
Yeah, because we have seen a lot of the Venezuelan nationals coming on social media. There are those who are very ecstatic and happy about the fact that Nicolas Maduro was removed, and that they are now looking forward to a sense of normalcy and peace and prosperity, because we have seen on social media some of the claims that some of the Venezuelan people are saying that they had to go through over the past few years under the Nicolas Maduro regime.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get this thing settled without there being any major bloodshed in the Venezuelan space. We hope that Venezuela themselves can really come to some sort of agreement on how to move forward as a nation, and that there's stability in the region. All right, so let us move on and celebrate with those who are celebrating with us. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. Yes, and at Tobago Updates, we like to celebrate with you, whatever you're celebrating. And we start off the celebrations by saying happy birthday to Miss Denisha Jones. Yes, happy 40th birthday coming from your husband, Chavis. We wish you God's richest blessings on this special day, and that this upcoming year, you would see all blessings and all advancement in your life.
Up next, we have Shania Coker. Happy birthday to you from the Tobago Updates family. Wishing you a bright and prosperous day, and a year that is filled with all your dreams coming true, and even better than the year before.
And we'll continue. We say happy birthday to Mr. Yarrell Phillips. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Phillips. God's richest blessings. Yes, you meet another year. You've seen another year. Give him thanks. Give him praise for all that he has done for you over the past few years and all that he will do for you in this upcoming year. We pray that you stay safe and that you become a productive person in the next year.
Up next, we have Miss Sophia Potts. Happy birthday to you. You are looking radiant in your yellow in this picture. Happy birthday. We wish you all the best today and God's richest blessings in your new year.
We say happy birthday to Dr. Paul Crooks. Happy birthday, Dr. Crooks. Yes, we wish you have an excellent day today, and we pray that you stay safe and that all things that you set your mind to, you achieve in the upcoming year.
I'm excited to announce this birthday. Happy birthday to our director here at the Tobago Updates family. Happy belated birthday to you, Aaron Primus. I know you had a wonderful day. I'm still waiting for my cake and my ice cream, but nonetheless, we know you had a great day and that you would have all your heart's desires in this upcoming new year.
And finally, we say happy birthday to Miss Natasha Bedlow. Happy belated birthday, that is, to Miss Natasha Bedlow. We know that you'd have celebrated well over the weekend. Yes, you'd have celebrated well with friends and family, and you'd have a time. We see you having a ball wherever you are. We know that you stayed safe, and we thank God for that. And we pray that this upcoming year, you receive blessing after blessing. Yes, viewers, and whatever you're celebrating, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, a graduation, whatever you're celebrating, we want to celebrate with you here at Tobago Update. So send us information, and Tobago Update, Tobago, Trinidad, the region and the world will celebrate with you. So, Renessa, what do we have for the lineup this morning?
This morning in the lineup, we have Incumbent Assemblyman AMPLIA Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development. We are going to talk a little bit about the THA election and the housing development draw. Up next after that, we have the TTPS updates with Colin Stewart, Inspector with the TTPS. We're going to talk about the back to school safety tips. And finally, we have Xavier Edwards. He's the PRO at CivilNet. And we're here to talk about the conversations with the chief that will be happening tomorrow right here at Tobago Updates.
All right, so we have a lovely mix of discussions to have this morning on the program. And we want to thank you for being with us, sticking with Tobago Updates, whether it's on our Facebook Live or YouTube channel, 102 on AMPLIA, 121 or 130 on Flow, or 55 on Digicel. We want to thank you for being with us, and we ask you to do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we have in studio with us incumbent Assemblyman AMPLIA, who is the Secretary of the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development, and he's here to talk to us about the housing development draw. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning to you, and good morning to the wider world that is looking on the World Wide Web. Good morning to the constituents of Masonal North Mariah.
So tell us, Mr. Pallad, let's get straight into it. This housing development draw, what is it about?
Well, it's about distributing lands that we have available to most needy persons. You see, we have, as the Secretary of the Division, as I stated last night, I have 25% of every draw or the land or house distribution under my purview, which could be, persons could be hand-selected. And we have a waiting list of over 9,000 or 10,000 persons. And I saw, although these developments are about to be started soon, I could select 25% of persons on that list once they fit the criteria, once they are in the system, and they could be offered lands or houses, be it whatever they have applied for. So I just find it fitting that persons have been waiting too long, and once these things are about to start, because we have the contract signed for Riseland, which will be 130 units, I could select 33 persons out of that 130 units. Also, Plymouth will have 120 units. I could select 30 persons. So they don't have to be in the random draw, as the Chief Secretary and the Executive Council is looking at the fact that it's a first-in, first-out basis, because some persons have been in the system for almost 20 years. So to give persons that confidence in the system, it might be changed to that type, very first-in, first-out. But as a Secretary, I could distribute 25% of any draw between my colleagues and myself. So we only saw it fitting that persons be given a New Year gift to know that they have been qualified, or they have qualified financially, and they have stake in part of Tobago.
Now, for the persons who have already applied over the past few years, as you said, there are people who have applied years ago, and you're now implementing the first in, first out.
No, they're looking at it.
They're looking at it.
Mm.
What assurances can you give over to the public when this selection process would begin, or when can they look out for this? Because hearing this being brought to the public, the next thing the public wants to know is when can they start looking forward to hearing from, or when things would be rolled out?
Well, with the first, like I said, the Executive Council has to decide on it, but it's something that the Chief Secretaries began, because we have the complaints from persons who are always saying that, I've applied since 1999, since 2000, and it's only fair or fitting, because if you put everybody in a random draw, it doesn't say that, okay, persons who have been there for 20, 21 years will be selected. So I know some of these persons probably reach the age of close to not being able to afford a mortgage, but we are trying to encourage intergenerational mortgages, where if they have the finances and they could put their children or their children to support them, so that it be handed down to the children. So it's something that is a work in progress, and we hope that we could move to that stage, because this is what it goes throughout the Caribbean and throughout the world, where we have intergenerational mortgages.
So in terms of your selecting your 25%, how many persons are we looking at in overall across all the developments?
Like I said, it's 33 in Riseland and 30 at Adventure, so that's 63. And then we have 27 acres of lands in Corland. We could amass 174 housing lots. We are looking at the persons who are most vulnerable, the CPEP, the URP, the daily paid workers. We are even thinking of reducing the cost of the land, because we could only sell land at $15 per square foot. So that's about $75,000 for a parcel of land. So to make it more affordable for those persons in the lower income bracket. So out of that 174, I could hand select 44 persons. So we're talking about almost 124 persons.
Okay. And like Vanessa was asking, when would you be looking to do your draw, your personal 25%?
The chairman of the board, we are looking at probably doing Thursday or Friday. So we just call the persons who have met the criteria, and we give them the letters of award that they have been awarded a parcel of land or awarded a unit at Plymouth or in Riseland.
No, I know. Sorry. No, I know you said that that the chief would have mentioned last night, I believe it was, or over the weekend, that they're looking to do the first in, first out system. In your draw, even though you could personally pick whoever you want, are you looking to also emulate that system as a precursor?
Yeah, well, like I said, once you qualify, once you could prove, because when we are given land, besides paying for the land, you must show that you could construct within 2 years. It doesn't have to be total completion of construction, but you must show. So it's not like in the case we have some persons in some development, like Corland Phase 1. Persons have gotten land since 2016, and nothing has been done. Now that could be taken back from you and given to persons. So there's a stipulation. If you are given a house, you must show that you could qualify to pay for these units. So you have persons in the database who are pre-qualified that I could go through, whether you're in there for 10 years, in there last week. Once you could show that you could pay or meet the criteria, you could be selected.
Now we're hearing about criteria and qualification, and you listed those who are vulnerable and those who can construct within 2 years. Are there any other qualifications for the public knowledge, so they know that when you're picking with this criteria in mind and it's already out in the public domain?
Well, like I said, these are the main basic criteria that you must be able to show that your financial status, that you could pay for these properties and construct. Those are the main criteria. And you must be a citizen of Tobago. It cannot be someone from Trinidad or service catering for those in Trinidad. There will be developments coming later down where we are looking at for expats, like Bacalet, where they had purchased for Scarborough Sex School at 13.5 acres. That will be probably housing constructed for expats or to be sold on the open market. Now, some of the units at Riseland will be sold on the open market, preferably to Tobagonians, because the cost that we could sell to the criteria we have looking to serve, which is low and middle income, the price range might be out of these persons. So in order for the contractor to reclaim or recover his money, he could sell a portion of these units on the open market, preferably to Tobagonians.
You stated that one of the criteria is that you have to be a citizen of Tobago.
Yeah,
but does that
resident.
also include residents of Tobago? Persons who from Trinidad but they reside in Tobago?
No, you must be here for 5 years.
You must be in Tobago
for 5 years,
to qualify.
Yes.
Whether you're a resident from Trinidad or abroad.
Well, that is tricky because I've got that concern from a lot of persons that because of their job, they have to be in Trinidad. So I think it's something that we have to look at because, they're back and forth and you can't, withhold them from because of an opportunity to uplift themselves in the employment market. So it's something that we could look at.
Okay. So I want to talk about future developments. We talk about Corland, talk about adventure, and there was one other area you spoke about.
Riseland.
Riseland, right. In terms of the development of more settlements across Tobago, what is the division's plans for those settlements?
Well, we have the lands at Shervan, which is supposed to be 447 units. We're hoping that could start within this fiscal 2026. But we now have to look for where we have lands because what I as secretary are trying to stop is the rural to urban migration. So we now have lands where the state has lands in like Kendall or in Castara. So we're hoping that we could have those utilize those lands so that we don't have that migration of taking these people out. And as the Chief Secretary stated in our blueprint, we want to encourage public-private partnership. So persons with land could develop homes and have them sold to persons here in Tobago. So that way we have persons, the state doesn't have to, all we have to do is just assist these people. But once the landowners could develop these units and be sold to Tobagonians, but it is something that we are trying to stem, that moving from rural to urban.
Now, I know we spoke about the most vulnerable. We spoke about persons who aren't able to afford housing. Now we're going to shift that conversation a bit to the young people and as it relates to development and owning their own homes. I know a lot of times when you start a job, you start saving, you start putting things in place to try to get a home. But again, with inflation and all of these things, it is always very difficult. I know we are talking about the first in, first out. What is there being put in place for the young people who would like to acquire these homes as well? Is there a system that would be separate and apart for them, or would they have to go through the same process so that they apply and then hopefully as the years go by, maybe they will be selected eventually?
Well, in every draw, there's a criteria for young professionals. So there's a certain percentage is set aside for young professionals. But the Chief Secretary have mandated me to look at targeting more young persons because it's when you get a job that you can at least invest because we find so much persons are getting involved in purchasing of motor vehicles that have them bogged down for 7 and 8 years and cannot afford a home because of financial commitments. But it's something that we are looking at, that we are targeting more young persons to get involved in the housing. So it's a fair game for all young persons, trust me.
Because I would also say, as you mentioned, the young people are usually getting loans for a vehicle.
Yes.
What about your partnerships with the banks as well to ensure that we are able to go in and get the loans? Because when you go in as a first time, well, you just started working, most times you have to secure a loan and show that you're able to pay your credit before they decide to give you a loan in a certain amount for you to be able to then purchase stuff of that quantity. So I'm asking, what is the division and by extension the government doing for all young professionals as it relates to that?
Well, we have had a market fair about last month with all the financial institutions, trying to get them on board to assist persons to have them pre-qualified to provide financing for homes. And it was really, it was well responded to. And like I said, 14 financial institutions was present, and we had a number of persons that came in to make sure that they are pre-qualified. So we do have the banks working with. But remember, the choice belongs to you as the individual. And you have to know to make whatever choice you want to, is best for you. But we're hoping that the young persons could look at the home, because a home is not just a house, it's a safe place. It's, it brings out so much out of families, better living conditions. So I'm hoping that the young persons could buy into this. Like we said, that we are targeting young professionals, young persons, even those who are less fortunate. We provide some kind of home because they are prefab style home. There's so much things that are cheaper now that persons could get into.
So, Mr. Pollard, as we're talking about finances, we're not only talking about the finances of individuals to afford a home, but we're talking about the finances of the THA as well in order to afford to build homes. And we know that the country has been in a financial bind for quite some time. Is the Assembly looking towards making a shift from focusing on building homes and really putting a greater focus on giving out lands? Because a lot of persons say, especially persons in the middle class, they say, if we could just get the land, then we could build on our own. Is the Assembly looking forward to a mass program in distributing just lands alone?
Yes, we are. Like I said, once the lands are available, because we have so much state lands. I mean, we have about 33 estates, but where are they located? The type of terrain, because some of them are precipitous. So you clear that and give that out to person. Then the cost to construct might be humongous. So we are looking at providing lands to person. That's why the 124 parcels at Rise at Corland will be land only. We have 50 parcels of land in Mayston that will be distributed land only. So there are some settlements will be land only, and there's some settlement that will be houses will be constructed. But like I said, the criteria is that you must be able to construct within a reasonable time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pollard. We have to go for a short break, viewers, and when we come back, we continue our conversations with Mr. Pollard. I'll get into a bit of politics when we come back. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We continue our conversations with incumbent Assemblyman Ian Pollard, and we'll shift a bit now to some politics with the THA elections coming up next week, Monday, the 12th of January. And Mr. Pollard, you've been on the ground. We know you've been working very hard. Tell us what the campaign has been like for you thus far.
It's been a wonderful campaign for us, me and my team. And I must say hats off to all the persons from Mason Mora who have come out and support and been out there every afternoon with us, campaigning, touching the people on the ground. But the response have been wonderful on the ground in Mason Hall, North Mariah. And I'm quite confident that the TPP will retain Mason Hall, North Mariah, as the other 14 other constituencies.
No, I was not going to get into that. I know that the TPP, when the elections would have started off, was in a very strong position, but a lot of persons within the PNM camp, they feel this rise in motion, this rise in momentum within their party, and you're claiming to say that you'll have all 15 seats, but what has it been like? Have you felt that sort of rise in momentum with your political opponents?
No, I haven't felt that because it's all bluff. Because you're seeing, I just woke up this morning and the whole of Mason is red with flags. But I mean, I've been in politics this year 50 years. And the last time we saw Tobago painted red was 2021 December. And the result was 14-1. But I don't think that Tobagoans will go back to say, put the PNM back in office. I think people, we are on an upward trajectory and persons are buying into it. Some persons may be disgruntled, but that is normal. But I'm certain that we are confident that we could claim all 15 seats.
Now, with the TPP, you have served the past 4 years with Mason Hall Mariah. Can you give now to the public, give an account of some of the areas that you believe you have served and delivered, because they want to look at accountability now and why they should re-elect you?
Well, like I said previously, financial constraints is always a problem in politics, but that shouldn't debar you from doing whatever you need to do. But what could have been done, in, like I said, the flagship in Mason was that Bay Hill project that Secretary James did at a cost of $25 million, where you had a removal of 192 steps and providing roadway for persons, because the regime before told them that they couldn't a road could not go there.
Mm-hmm.
So once we are able to do that, you see that persons are more accessible to the home, the senior folks and the senior citizens and stuff like that. And even the young persons, instead of trekking those steps, you could drive. But developments are coming slowly but surely. There are some things that we want to do in most of our tourism sites, like the Highland Waterfall. There are 2 waterfalls in Coffee River. So there are some things that we want to develop in Mason, but like I said, once the financing is there, we will do that. But as collectively as a TPP, we have been able to do things in different electoral districts. So Mason, no matter whatever we deserve, will be coming to us. And we know that we are on better footing in these 4 years, because for the first 3.5 years, we were underfunded by the central government. And we're hoping that once we have a better budgetary allocation, much more could be done to achieve the goals of the people of Tobago.
Now, every area representative, they try their best to do as much as they can for their constituents. But, things are not perfect. We don't always get everything done. Are there certain things that you weren't able to get done that you probably regret, and you look back at it and you probably think you could do more, you could have done more, or something that you want to tackle in this upcoming term?
It's not a matter of regret, it's a matter of, the process. Because if you know Mason well, when you're entering Mason, all the lands on the left-hand side of Mason, that is part of the Adelphi estate. I took it upon myself to have discussion with the Chief Secretary and the Senior State Council. And they have done what was needed, that was to have the lands valued. It is 144 acres. It's valued at 30.5 million TT, but it's under CLICO. And we know CLICO is indebted to the states at the tune of probably $12-point-something billion. So me coming from the private sector standpoint, I think it was an easy process. But it's not an easy process to acquire those lands for village expansion. And that is something that is dear to my heart, because, you have much more persons from the area, and even throughout Tobago could get more housing, some lands available. Agriculture, because it's 144 acres, and there's a lot of tourism artifacts within that area. So this is something that I thought could have been done in the first term, but we have started because I had conversation with Minister Saddam Hussein when they were here, and what first step he's going to do is regularize the 70 families that is living on the property, and then there's a process to have that acquired. Also, the construction of a fire substation on the north side of Tobago. That is something dear to me, because we have lost almost 24 homes in the last 12 years on the north side. So these are some of the things that I thought that we could have come together as a at the island and make sure, because when someone loses a home, and have to start from scratch, that is very heart-wrenching. And for us to wait for a flight attendant to leave Canby or to leave Roxborough. So those are two things that I am hoping that we could at least achieve in these 4 years to bring some ease and comfort to the person's life on the north side of Tobago.
Now, what has been some of the most persistent complaints by your residents, your constituents, during your tenure, and do you believe you have adequately done what you needed to do to appease them?
Well, the cry throughout the entire Tobago is jobs, especially jobs for the young persons. And we try, because everybody in Tobago seems like they want a government work. And you're trying to let them know that develop a skill. You see, COVID had taught us that beside the government workers who were home and being paid, but the tradesmen were still making money. And this is where we have to get our young men and our young women into developing some kind of skill. Because some persons they want anything, they want early morning work. Some of them go, some of them produce, some of them don't produce. But sometimes they just want something, and even though when they get the early morning work, the rest of the day, some of them just stay on the side of the streets doing nothing. If they could utilize that time and do something else for themselves, it will bode well for all of us. But they cry right about, because every year, about 900 to 1,000 students comes out of high school. And many of them qualification. There's a young lady in my district who has 19 O-levels. All she does is like exams. And I know that could lead to a lot of frustration. But we have to find ways to channel these persons into developing something other than government work. Because the THA cannot employ everyone. We just simply cannot.
I know you were speaking just a while ago about expansion of Mason Hall. And I often tell people, in my mind, Mason Hall is like the Diego Martin of Tobago, where it's just this massive settlement area where village inside of a village inside of a village inside of a village. What is your vision for Mason Hall in terms of its impact on Tobago?
Well, I would like to see Mason Hall really becoming a business hub. As you say, we have the land space. It's just a matter of us coming together and at least develop it, putting our ideas and developing it. Because what I find different from this term to last term, because I've already been getting calls from business personnel in the area, from the village. They want to come and sit down and talk. Let us put our heads together so that we could see how we could develop our space, our living space. And I encourage that, because some persons believe that when you're elected to office, that you are the only one who has the vision. And that is not how it is. It's supposed to be coming together of the community. Everybody putting their heads together. And like I said, I already started getting those calls from business personnel in the electoral district. And I endorse it and I applaud it, so that we could put our heads together and really hear the cries of the persons, the persons living within, and develop the community as we. But Mason Hall could be, as we are the central district on the island, could be very good business hub.
All right, we want to thank you, Mr. AMPLIA, for coming in and speaking to us about the housing development draw, as well as giving us a bit of politics and review on your term in office. And we wish you all the best of successes in your future endeavors. Viewers, we have to take a short break, and when we come back, we continue our conversations right here on the morning show. So do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
How it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show. More, live more.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are here in studio with Xavier Edwards. He is the PRO of 7net, and he's here to talk about their upcoming event tomorrow, right here on Tobago Updates at 8 p.m. Conversations with the Chief. Good morning and welcome to you, Xavier.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting me here to talk about this very important conversation with our potential Chief Secretaries 2026.
Awesome. So, Xavier, I want you to tell the public, and by extension us here on Tobago Updates, what's the purpose of the conversations with the Chief? What do you hope to gain? What do you hope the public would get out of this conversation?
All right. Well, first I want to say that this is not the first time we've done this. We've been engaging in conversations with the candidates from as early as general election 2020. The importance is to have the hopeful representatives on the same panel, engaging with the audience, the electorate, in a two-way line of communication in real time, as opposed to just when they are at their meetings, sharing their perspectives. People could engage with them in real time, send questions. There have been questions already sent beforehand, as well as while the live broadcast is going on. They can also comment on the stream and ask what they want to know from those who are asking them to support them in the upcoming election.
And so you're starting conversation with the chief.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's with the incumbent chief secretary, or is it?
The chief hopefuls. So the selection process was based on candidates who represent parties or leaders of parties who are contesting more than 8 electoral districts. Because, I mean, realistically, you can't expect to be the chief unless you're contesting at least 8.
Okay.
So in that vein, there were 3 people who fit that criteria. Dr. Denise Surfat Angus representing the IDA, Ansel Dennis, the leader of the People's National Movement, and the current chief, Fali Augustine, Tobago People's Party. We have 2 confirmations thus far.
Now, those are Dr. Angus and Mr. Dennis.
Yes, we have those 2 confirmations thus far. And we have submitted and followed up. We're just waiting on a confirmation. But I'm faithful that, we'll get that yes, so that the conversation could be comprehensive and wholesome with all the hopefuls. So time will tell.
Now, where can the members of the public who are viewing this show right now log in to view this conversation if they aren't able to make it in person, and where can they be if they are able to make it in person?
Well, this one in particular, we are not going to do the in-person audience. We did have that scheduled for conversations with the candidates, but due to their busy schedules and inability to get the level of commitment we needed to make it a success, we decided to focus our energy on the conversation with the chief. That conversation is going to be broadcast live right here on Tobago Updates, both online and on national television. And they can, beforehand, if you know that there are questions you'd like to ask, submit an email to tobagocivilnet@gmail.com. The questions for the chief hopefuls, but also during the live stream, which runs from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. tomorrow, you can submit your questions and comments in the Facebook stream in real time and have them asked to the chief hopefuls.
So, and you're saying that you've been having these conversations since 2020.
Yeah.
And I know that in the beginning phases of this thing, there were a bit of reticence, apprehension by politicians to really come forward and have these conversations with you. How have you seen the comfort or the growth of this CivNet conversations grown over the years?
I think it's always challenging to hold power, and then it's always, even more so challenging to come and account for what you have done with it. So it's not unreasonable that people feel apprehensive. You know what I mean? It's like, mommy leave home and she say, hey, what is the list of things I want you to do? And you realize time pass and you ain't get it done. You might feel that way, You might feel a little antsy. But I think, that is part of leadership. And I think the people themselves have to play their role in encouraging people to be accountable. Because, everything is a hype thing, Election day is a hype thing, and then there's a big fete and it's a hype thing, but the political process extends way beyond the day of voting. So it's like, the responsibility to be accountable is not only on the representative, it's on the citizenry too, and I think the citizenry has been more engaging, more brave, more willing, more open. And I think that naturally has challenged those who want to put themselves up for representation to have to match that energy. We still have very far to go, but I think we have made great leaps in that direction thus far.
All right, so just one last time, could give the person some information about CivNet, how they could log on, where they can log on to hear the conversations, and just one last push.
Tobago CivNet is a civil society organization, just with, regular folk like myself who have an interest in Tobago's development, coming from a various set of sectors. I myself have arts and entertainment and culture. We have people in environmental management, people in media, marketing, authors, vast. And if you're a citizen, a person who you care to see the island grow, but you can have your political affiliations, but you are also open to objective evaluation, analysis, and making the society more engaged and engaging in our process, then maybe you'll find a home at CivilNet, which you could contact us on Facebook, Tobago CivilNet, Instagram, Tobago CivilNet, or email us at tobagocivilnet@gmail.com regarding our event tomorrow, which is a hype event, but it is, let's keep that energy flowing beyond tomorrow, right? Please. 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. live on Tobago Updates. You can see your candidates, your leaders, your hopeful leaders sit right next to each other and engage with them in real time. See how they respond under pressure, see how they respond with their other competitors next to them. You know, because the political process do exist in a vacuum like it is sometimes in the rallies. You know, you have to learn to engage with people who you have different opinions from. So tune in 8 p.m. tomorrow to Tobago Updates. Send in your questions, talk to the people, and keep that energy flowing.
Xavier, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Tobago Updates and sharing the upcoming event that is tomorrow at 8 p.m. here on Tobago Updates. And to our viewers, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we want to remind you to stay tuned. GMT is up next. And remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
This year's summit, it takes a slight different approach compared to last year. Based on the persons who had came, the students who had came, we felt that we should have a section focused for the students because that is where the agri-technology would start from, where the innovators are. So this year we take our focus on the students as well as we incorporated different persons within the country of Trinidad and Tobago, and we got exhibitors from right here on this island who are invested in innovation and agriculture and technology.
Produce Tobago is an online multi-vendor marketplace website which facilitates buying and selling along the agricultural value chain. So if you are selling agricultural inputs like fertilizer or seedlings, you can sell on the website. If you're an agro-processor, you could also sell your pepper sauces, your nuts, that sort of stuff on the website. Even if you provide agricultural services, as it says, it's agricultural technology, and I think that this is innovative in and of itself to bridge gaps in the agricultural landscape. So I felt like it was important to bring it to the people of Tobago.
I help companies, farmers, food processors, anywhere along the value chain, build and implement their food safety and quality management systems, as well as an educator, because that's where it starts. I think that it is important because it helps you not only be current and up to date, but with so many changes happening in the climate, it's important to leverage technology so that you don't be at a loss. Why not use the technology that we have available to us? Don't be afraid of it, to empower your operations so that you can be more efficient, effective, and profitable in the long run.
Well, I'm here at the summit today to learn more about agriculture and to know how far agriculture can get. So normally I might think, well, agriculture is hard work, you had to labor, but coming to the summit teach me that how well agriculture is getting easier.
It's indeed a pleasure to be here today at the summit. On one hand, we're here to learn and grow as well, because with education, it's a thing that you keep learning as you go on. At the same time, we're also here to provide information on the impacts of forestry and the relevant information to stakeholders who will be here today.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
World AIDS Day has been recognized since 1988. And over the years, it has grown into a meaningful global tradition. It brings together governments, health workers, advocates, families, youths, everyone, because the fight against HIV is something we all share responsibility for.
So, well, AIDS Day is important because we need to continually remember that we are still dealing with HIV and AIDS in Trinidad and specifically in Tobago. This is an opportunity for us to continue the discussion. This is an opportunity to remind the population that, we have these STIs that are running around. If we are not safe, we will not be healthy. So I appreciate this opportunity, and I particularly appreciate the fact that we are focusing on the young people for this World AIDS Day, because that is what is really needed to change the culture that's required.
My experience was eccentric to say the very least. Our teacher, she worked wonderfully, even with disruptions into the class. She worked with them instead of circling around them or going over them. She made them part of the lesson and made the learning experience beautiful. I hope that it serves to actually better educate the people, to get rid of the old people stigma that we got from our parents, grandparents, and thus forth. I hope that we can live a truer life with this knowledge and use this as a template to go forward for other problems that we may have.
I am white and I represent Hope. Hope says your diagnosis is not your destiny, and today we stand on that truth, and we aim to change at least one mindset every time we speak.
Empathy reminds us they are living with HIV, not dying from it.
Boy, see master, I'm going boy. But when me dog is and like everybody there dog, I know just for it to me.
So tell me, where you really learn this ignorance to go and tell him you cannot give someone HIV by just touching them? So your friend running off and talking about that is not true.
What we were trying to discuss was the dissatisfaction with moral ed in the high schools, because we feel like they're not teaching enough, especially when it comes to preventing stigma against certain groups of people.
Peer training programs are programs that have always worked because you need people who are similar to design what the message should be and to share those messages to their counterparts. And that is in essence what peer training is. So having these individuals who are part of these, these technical vocational schools be the ones to get the correct information is really a good step to ensure that they pass that information on to the people who they are closest with. We each need to do our part. We each need to ensure that our health is comprehensive. That includes our mental health, that includes our physical health, that includes our emotional health, and our sexual health is critical to that. So don't forget it. It's not a taboo thing to talk about. It's not a taboo thing to actively work on. And I think we could do it.
Choose your choices wisely still, but at the end of the day, you don't regret a single one of them. Because you are tomorrow.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And guys, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has dismissed claims that the recent U.S. airstrike in Venezuela poses a crisis for Trinidad and Tobago, saying citizens remain unaffected and daily life continues as normal. In a statement posted on X on Sunday, Persad-Bissessar said developments in Venezuela, quote, have nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago, end quote, describing suggestions of instability as manufactured, and urged citizens not to be concerned, further reaffirming Trinidad and Tobago's commitment to positive relations with Venezuela, expressing hope for renewed cooperation and wishing Venezuelan people a happy and smooth transition to democracy and prosperity. She also clarified that the Dragon Gas Deal project belongs to Venezuela and said Trinidad and Tobago does not seek Venezuelan assets, while noting she was unsurprised by the U.S. indictment of Nicolas Maduro and related allegations suggesting further revelations may emerge as the situation unfolds. Additionally, Opposition leader Penelope Beckles has echoed the sentiments of many online commenters questioning the absence of Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar from yesterday's press conference. Taking to social media, Beckles said that both the media and the public were left with two ministers who appeared unable to provide clear answers on key national issues. She said Trinidad and Tobago, quote, cannot be expected to accept a prime minister who seems unwilling to make herself available to the media and, more importantly, to the people she was elected to serve, end quote. And finally, PNM stalwart Dr. Edward Eddie Hart, and former Member of Parliament for Tunapuna and a renowned community leader, has died at the age of 89. Born in 1936 and shaped by a challenging childhood that included time in an orphanage, Hart rose to become a key grassroots figure in the People's National Movement, serving more than 15 years in Parliament and holding several ministerial portfolios. He was widely respected for his dedication to youth and community development and founded the Eddie Hart Football League and the Hart Connection, leaving a lasting legacy in sport and social advocacy, and awarded an honorary doctorate by UTT in 2020. And that was our news in 90 seconds. This morning we jump straight ahead into our conversation, and if you have been following, you would know that we have been checking in and tapping in with a number of the candidates that would be running in this upcoming Tobago House of Assembly election come next Monday. Before, when we said January 12th, it sounded like such a far time away from now, but we know that it's only a few days, and as we come down to that particular time that number of persons are looking forward to, this morning I have the privilege of sitting and chatting with one of those candidates. We are talking this morning with Assemblyman and candidate for the area of Lambo Lowlands. We are talking this morning with Mr. Wayne Wasp Clark. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning, Tobago. Good morning, and the worldwide listening audience. Thank you for being here.
Last time you were facing the polls, you were a challenger. This time you're an incumbent. What are the major differences this time around, and how are you dealing with that going into the election?
Well, I guess that's the easy part. As a challenger, you more focus on what you would like to do or what you would like to see done. As an incumbent, you have the privilege of saying what was done in my companionship.
Right. And for you, how has the community been responding to those things that, you've alerted to them has changed or has shifted and developed in the community?
Well, the response has been good, and one of the reasons why I think the response was good is that most times in your journey from at this level, if those steps are made with the people you serve, it's a lot easier.
Understood. And tell us about some of those key initiatives that you think has had that type of impact or positive impact on the people that give them the confidence to want to re-elect you.
Well, first and foremost, I take development in a different. Sometimes I tend to look at it a little different than the buildings and the infrastructure. I more look at trying to enhance the people, because if you put much focus on the people, whenever the infrastructure comes, they are prepared to make full use of such.
Understood. And for you, were there any particular areas where you felt like because of whatever constraints you were unable to function or bring those things into fruition? And how are members of your community reacting to those things?
Well, first we got to understand that we're living in a society that it will never be 100% yes, it will never be 100% no. You just got to, as the representative, you get the insight of as much people as possible, and you work with what the general consensus is. You will never be able to do everything that needs to be done, because 4 years is not the longest time, but sometimes, as in coaching football over the years, the child mightn't do, I primarily coach children for the major part of my coaching career. The children mightn't be able to do exactly what you want, but you can see intent. And sometimes that's okay.
Understood. And for you, what are some of those major or big ticket items that you think the community really needed that was unable to get done, that persons are possibly disgruntled about or still looking for that to be a change or a determining factor for them to make a political decision come Monday the 12th?
Well, I don't see it as disgruntled, sometimes you would always want things, you will have a list. It's like Christmas. You have a list, and Santa would never bring everything that's on that list. But sometimes you have enough that you could go to next Christmas. So basically, one of the things that I was pleased about is that, you know, I reside in the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, and we train thousands of people when the year come with these vocational classes and so forth, right? And I think it was a successful moment when the decision was taken that we're gonna, from this year, some of these classes, a good number of these classes will be properly certified, because I always thought it was a downward feeling to train people and not even you who train them could employ them with the certificate that they got. So that for me was a big ticket.
Understood. You have your plans moving forward that you want to see done, whether it be at the divisional level or at the community level. What are some of those plans?
Well, the divisions are really made up of different communities, you know, and interacting with people on a daily basis, it sort of gives you a clear picture of what needs to be done. And as I said, I am not the biggest fan of infrastructural development and leaving the people behind. Sometimes we get carried away with all the big, nice infrastructure. It's like buying a car. Save all your life to buy a car. And when you do get this car, you realize you don't have any license. So, you know, I see it as trying to prepare the people, which they will be ready for whatever comes.
Right.
It's like it's like talking about the CSME. You know, we talk about that for years, but was our people ever ready for it? Other countries were training their people, preparing them, certifying them, and we were left behind in that aspect. I think we need to step up in that aspect. And one of the things I try to understand and, you know, exchange ideas with people when they come, when you interact with them on a daily basis. Sometimes there's too much of young people walking around with certification in things that don't actually, sometimes, it's not regular in Trinidad and Tobago or in Tobago. So I think sometimes in choosing a career, the career guidance people at these schools, I think should be a little more active and should be a little more informative, informing these children that, listen, this profession, you clearly will not be able to reside in Tobago. There is no field for it here. There's a number of people that come to my office when they come seeking employment, and when you see what they have, it really not too relevant to the Tobago space. And what happens is that, yes, you might see some of them employed, but really they just go to our office and sit when they come. I think we need to move away from that, and we need to offer scholarships, which this administration is trying to do, to where you see there's a void in your development.
Right. And even as you touch a bit on scholarships, I remember I had conversations right here on Tobago Updates with a number of persons within the Tobago diaspora who are focused on, you know, like training, youth training, and specifically in the area of sports, getting young persons those scholarships that they want, that they need to transition outside of Tobago. Has the division thought about having those collaborations with those international coaches and scouts and stuff to create programs that allow Tobagoans to transition out of Tobago?
Collaborations are always good, and when any of these invitations come my way, I always try to work with the people involved to see how far we could push it. Right? In many instances, I think timing is one of our major issues. You look at it and it tells you clearly that as a society, sometimes we're not too good at planning, because look at the request that comes to the division yearly, that people come to you in May, June, July for assistance to go off to school that start in August or start in July. And clearly it was not, you could see from the onset that it was not something well thought out. People come at times and give opportunities. It may seem as an opportunity for you, but a lot of our children leave here, go abroad to study, and get stuck halfway through it because it wasn't properly planned out. You know, it's all excited, you're all excited because opportunity come, until you realize it was only the first year was free, you had to pay after. And that's where sometimes the hard decisions have to be made. If you're going to come back home, if you're going to try to reach out to the THA, and some of the times the things that you reach out in the way that you reach out, there's no allocation and no allowances for that. So it puts you in a pickle, and sometimes you think that the THA doesn't want to support you. But sometimes it's difficult. If you and someone going swimming, there's an expectancy that you can get into difficulty in the waters because you went together. If you was just to be called that somebody's in the water struggling, now you had to spring into action. Sometimes you going in there uninformed or whatever could pose a danger not only to you, but to the person who is in the difficulty.
Right. And how do you retransition persons here in Tobago from, requests to really assisting them, showing them the different routes? Because there is the DATAS grant that is given by the Division of Education. So when these persons do come to your division, particularly when given these scholarships and find themselves in difficulty, are they transitioned over to the Division of Education to get that DATAS?
Once people come to the division, remember it might be a different division, but it's one THA. And sometimes people come to me with issues that I have to refer them to health. I mean, they come to you with everything because you might be the area rep. So they come to you, you are the first call. So they come to you and you have the responsibility now to tell them, okay, here is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. And you try sometimes to hold their hand and accompany them along the way.
Understood. Now, one of your colleagues last night on the platform in Mariah would have dropped some bombs about, the contract situation in Tobago and under the previous...
You gotta be careful with bombs, eh?
Under the previous administration. And for you, why is it important for your administration to take a different approach when it comes to development?
Well, you refer to it as bombs, I refer to it as things that actually happen. And if it was things that actually happen, then it might sound one way, like how you said they dropped some bombs, but these bombs or these information carry a cost with it, and we have to deal with it. And sometimes when you cannot move as fast as you want to move with your development trust, sometimes the people get frustrated, and it's important that you show them why you cannot get to the issues as quick as you would like to, because there are reasons before that has to be attended to. Regardless of how you choose to look at it, every debt that has to be serviced out of whatever allocation you presently get. So it might be all good to reporters or whoever, your constituents, the general population might say that, okay, you have, I'm just using a figure, you have $50 million today, all we want is the school to fix, and the school only costing $1 million. But you have a debt of $100 million. You have to navigate. You have to come to a place where you cannot turn your back on what needs to be done, but definitely you cannot turn your back on the debt.
Understood. Even as we round off our discussions this morning, what can persons look forward to from you if you are re-elected?
Very much continuing in some of the areas that we have been making progress. Since even before I went into politics, the people of Lowlands, and because when I first went in was Lambo, Signan Hill. And now it's changed to Lambo Lowlands. But you were constantly hearing the cry that the youths, the children in the area doesn't have a place to recreate. I took it upon myself because when I got into office as the area representative, I told them that something definitely will be done in this area before my term ends. As I said, the government really cannot do everything. And I took it upon myself to get an excavator in there, clear way to the back of the center. And we're going to have constant talks with the village council, with the community, to see how the best way forward we can go with that project. But so far, all that has been done there came from out of pocket from, myself, because I made a commitment to the people. And sometimes you make a commitment and where the resources to come from, it just doesn't exist because of what I just explained to you. So I tried my best, and we are at about 50% there. And hopefully that, along with a little recreation area, pending discussion with the council and the community, so we will have a couple swings and slides so the children could play. There isn't a designated court in the district, but we could, there's a big car park there. It's not always in use. So the thought process, as I will discuss with the village council and the community at large, is that we can erect a basketball ring on one side of the car park. So when the car park is not in use, the village can recreate. It's a situation of sort of making it do until something better could happen. What's important is getting the people occupied, because we know that we have a lot of lifestyle diseases.
Right. And how has the oil spill situation with the fishermen in Lambo affected your relationship with them?
I wouldn't say it affected the relationship. There was a lot of misunderstanding throughout the process. First, let me take you back to the beginning of this oil spill. When this thing just happened, I, as a responsible area representative, was the first person to call the villagers together, because we were directly affected. We get the hardest lash, I should say. We were directly affected. And I called the fisher folk and all the stakeholders together in a meeting at the community center one Saturday morning. Out of that, because generally I just call them to hear their concerns, see, what is the next move, how we're going to operate with this thing. Out of that, we had a second meeting, which the chief secretary attended, right? And at the time, nothing wasn't formally done. It took a little while for the national government to get involved. Until then, the people were directly affected. The Tobago House of Assembly, the chief secretary pledged that we know that you are directly affected. We don't know what is the course of action from the international bodies, because the Tobago House of Assembly were not directly responsible for compensation. But the Tobago House of Assembly did get involved and was giving the fishermen a little assistance to the tune of $1,000 to put food on their table. Right? People misinterpret that and say that was compensation. It was not. It was a little food support.
Understood.
And during that whole process, we came and we learned that when the government got involved, there was an international organization, ITAF, who were responsible, who dealt with the compensation part of it. And up to now, up to like a month or two ago, there were people still receiving compensation because all didn't come at the same time. However, the organization also wrote some of the people who were residing, who ply their trade on a daily basis. They wrote them and told them that they were not entitled to compensation. Number one, they were not registered. They had no documentation to show. Because of that, and this is where the misinformation comes in, because of that, I went back to the fisher folk, because for some reason, like about 2 months before the oil spill, I was there sitting with them talking and urging them that you need to have records. You need to have registration. Because there are benefits to being registered as a fisherman, as a farmer. There are benefits. So I was just trying to outline it to them. And then this oil spill come and happen. What happened is that to the people that didn't get the compensation in the vein that the compensation came, I brought the chief secretary to them again. He made a commitment to them. That commitment is not honored as yet, but he made a commitment to them that all those who were turned down, when the process is finished, because it's still ongoing. As I told you, about a month or two ago, people were still getting compensation. So those, when the process is over, those who did not get any compensation, the THA will try to give you something. It might not be what the rest get, but we need to understand that the authorities tell you are not entitled, but having a humane heart, we are saying that, yes, we know you were there, you wasn't registered, you wasn't documented, but we will try and see if we could bring some relief to you after it is said and done.
And do you think that this message is effectively being translated to the fishermen?
Well, you have to understand that just as how I give you it, I give them. But you have to understand that sometimes, put yourself in their position. Sometimes if you are the one that been affected, conversation and having a clear mind to receive what was sent out, sometimes it ain't always the easiest thing. Because the affected person, it's easy for the one who is not affected to tell you whole a liquor strain. But the person who is affected, sometimes the patience will run thin. And hence the reason sometimes some of the remarks will come across in the way that it will, you know, how it does come across. But you, the person that put the information out there as the area representative, I still had to be understanding, saying that if I was in their position, I might have been getting on worse than them.
Understand. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning. We want to wish you all the best in the election come next Monday, January 12th. Is there anything that you want to say to your constituents before we wrap up this morning?
Yes, I want to say that Lambo Lowlands, I thank you for the opportunity to serve you over the past 4 years, and I look forward to a continuation of that. There are lots of things that we would have discussed that didn't bear fruit, not for want of trying, but sometimes simply because the resources were not readily available. The rest stop, we are trying to develop a rest stop on the William Mackenzie Park just over the traffic light, because it's an area that you have people always coming to recreate, you know, and there is nothing there. So right now we are presently installing toilets. We will have swing, slide, and the works there as we go along. And I just want to indicate that this effort, we are getting a little assistance with labor from URP, but this effort is a community effort. People in the community donated blocks, they donated sand, gravel. So it's something that we are working together to provide the services that the community need.
Understood. Well, again, we want to thank you for being here. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back after this. See you soon.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Updates. Guys, this morning we continue our conversations and we are talking about the annual Tobago Bible Marathon. This morning to have that conversation with me, I have the privilege of sitting and chatting in studio with Pastor David Elder, who is the coordinator of the event. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Greetings. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to talk with you and with all Tobago and all the listeners.
Right. Tell us, what year are we in now of the Bible Marathon?
This is year 13. Started in 2014, and by the grace of God, we continue every year.
Right. And this is usually a collaboration between your church and other churches, or is it just specific to your ministry?
No, it's a collaboration between the pastors of the majority, almost all the evangelical and Pentecostal churches of Tobago. From 2014, more than 50 churches have been participating in this great opportunity to read the Bible publicly.
Right. And tell persons what exactly the Bible Marathon is. How is it structured, and how can they be a part of it if they so desire?
Right. By reaching out to all the pastors and inviting all the pastors to participate, and all of them agreeing for us to do it together. It was designed to engage as wide a group as possible, widest possible participation from across Tobago, Charlottesville to Crown Point, East, West, North, South, and all age groups, children up to seniors. And the purpose in reading the Bible is to encourage and inspire everyone to not only engage but embrace the living eternal Word of God. The Bible, we all are familiar with the Bible, as part of our lives or daily lives, because it is so important, so necessary, and so beneficial to our lives.
Understood. And so tell us about the date that this is happening this year.
This year, as every year, we start on New Year's Day in the evening at 6 p.m. exactly, and we read the Bible non-stop without pause, day into the night, through the night, and we end on the 5th of January in the evening just after 4 p.m. The time we end depends on the speed of reading. We encourage everyone to prepare. We aim for a certain speed of reading, but it's on a performance. It's not a program that we are just showing off. It's a program where we are encouraging people to read. So we are willing to have people who can read the Bible excellently, like you are an excellent reader, or people who may even read a little slower, so we don't finish exactly at 4. We may finish 15 minutes or even 30 minutes after, and that's fine. But the important thing is that of the approximately 500 persons who would read through the marathon, one, they had an opportunity. And interestingly, too many people don't bother to read the Bible for themselves. And that's the purpose. Because really the whole message of the Bible and of Jesus Christ, the gospel and all of that, calls us to be disciples of Christ. And that's why God has given us His word to, help us to grow in Christ and to know Him. And so it's to inspire people to interact. So the Bible scriptures are assigned to the churches and to individual weeks and months ahead so that they can prepare and they can read the Bible even more. That's the purpose.
Okay. And can you tell persons how they can tune in to the Bible Marathon to witness?
Yeah, from inception, we try to air as much of it as possible on TIN 137, but it has been live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. And there's a stream at the moment, at present, for this marathon on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Tobago Bible Marathon and you'll have it there live. So already, more than 80 plus hours have gone. The remaining hours continue today. During the day today, we continue to have wonderful reading in books of the New Testament. As of now, as we speak, they may be in the book of maybe 1 Corinthians, thereabout. And during the middle of the day, we're going to have some school children from 6 schools, primary and secondary, coming to read at the marathon. That's always exciting. We go out to the principals and teachers and say, well, we want to get some children,
Yes.
And many try to organize. And then the finale is when we have a team of pastors who would bring the curtain down with the grand reading of the book of Revelation, very exciting experience. There are many people who come and sit in the church and experience it, and that's great. It's a wonderful experience.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for being here and telling us all about the annual Tobago Bible Reading Marathon. Is there anything that you want to say to persons to encourage them to pay attention to what's happening?
Yes, in addition, we invite everyone. It's not too late. You can join us for the closing Thanksgiving celebration, which follows immediately as the marathon finishes this evening. Right, so somewhere after 4, we'll be into that. We invite the whole community to come and to celebrate in praise and thanksgiving to God. And we pray that in the days ahead, that many will be inspired, They can go back to look at the videos, but they get into God's word, because God's word is living and it's life-giving and enlightenment. We need the light of the word for our lives. God's blessings to you, to all the Tobago community and all viewers as you reach out and open up your lives to Jesus Christ.
Well, thank you to you as well, Pastor Elder. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversations after this. See you soon.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago.
Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. We continue our conversations, and this morning we are chatting with the guys from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association. This morning we are having a number of conversations, but I want you to know that I'll be chatting with Mr. Kevin Nichols, who is the executive member of the members SRP representative, and Mr. Lex Springer, who is the chairman of the SRP committee. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, ma'am. Morning to the residents of Tobago. I'm very glad to be here this morning.
Right. Well, we know you guys had an election last November the 3rd last year. There was a lot of controversy surrounding that particular election. You know, I did a number of interviews here with a number of your opponents and possibly your team members. But remember, there was an injunction filed in the Trinidad and Tobago courts regarding that election. Can you give us some clarity about what really took place there for the persons looking on who are unaware?
Well, it was vented throughout the country in all major media and stuff, on social media as well, concerning the eligibility of SRPs and municipal officers' right to be part of the association and also to vote within the election. The matter was brought about by an opposing team, as I said, and it was vented through the courts, and the police association was successful in that endeavor, where municipal officers as well as special reserve officers are entitled to be members of the police association as well as the right to vote within that election.
And Mr. Springer, just give us a little bit of insight on why it's important for the municipal police as well as SRP to be a part of these processes and be active within the associations.
Hi, good morning once again. So the thing about it is, when it is we look at SRPs and we look at municipal police, we are all over, just like the regular police. So having that voice, instead of being just put on the back burner and have nothing to say, we have a voice now. That is where Mr. Nichols came in, and for the SRPs, for the municipal police, they have their rep also who they could go to and put a voice out there. So before we were being heard, but there was no voice out there to legally speak for us, if it is we want to put it in layman terms. But now we have that voice. It is very, very vocal, and we are seeing a turn in the tide.
Understood. So, Mr. Nichols, tell us a bit about Team Prime and the success coming out of that last election. What are some of the ideas, initiatives, projects that you've been implementing?
Well, first of all, Team Prime is being led by ASP Pitt, right? He was a successful candidate for the presidency position, so he is our current president. It's a very versatile team, mix up of fresh faces, experience in the likes of ACP Subero, who is our FDO representative, right? On the campaign trail, we would have made promises that we intend to keep, and one of the promises was continuity and proper management of the police association, better outreach to officers, and to be more inclusive of Tobago. Because we would have heard whilst on the campaign trail that persons felt that Tobago was not being recognized enough, they were not being heard, certain issues and problems was not being addressed. So we would have given the assurance to Tobago and Tobago officers that you would see more inclusion going forward, and we would have already initiated those promises by starting with the association office. We'll be opening a sub-office here in Tobago. This office would be led by woman Corporal Asha Kennedy, right, which will show that the association is willing to reach out to the officers more. So where before officers would have had to leave Tobago to go to Trinidad to get access to certain things that the association offers, they no longer would have to make that trek. Now they could get to the office based at the Noel Chase Hotel in Bon Accord, and from there now the documents will be sent to Trinidad, and the relevant, whatever it may be, will be sent back to Tobago.
Excellent. Well, you guys are having an event very soon. Mr. Springer, tell us a bit about that. Well, what can we look forward to?
Well, currently, as Mr. Nichols said, we are being inclusive. There are SLPs in Trinidad and also Tobago. So we decided, since this is the first SRP representative that the association ever had, we decided, listen, let's start in Tobago. So we've decided to do a pool party by the hotel, right? So this pool party it's supposed to be epic.
Right,
and
and
it's
is
going
this
to be epic.
So this is Aqua
Escape.
Aqua Escape. Is
Yes.
this open to the general public or just Trinidad and
It
Tobago
is
police?
open to the general public. What we are trying to do, we are trying to become inclusive, not exclusive, right? So we are including all services, prison service, airports authority, TN fire services. You invited, so you know you and your cameraman, you all are invited. So what we are looking to do is have a get together where persons can see at the front side of the police service, right? We are targeting SRPs. We are also targeting regular police. So this is not because the SRP committee is holding it, only SRPs allowed.
Understood. Well, we look forward to the success of this event. So can you remind us again? I see that it's happening at the Noel Chase Hotel in Crown Point, Tobago.
Yes, it is.
And this is going to be a poolside event.
Yes.
So remind the persons on the date and the time.
So the event is carded for the 24th of January, 2025. 2026, sorry. And we are starting at 10 p.m. till. Right, so we are looking to have poster DJs. We are looking to have some wonderful prizes for one or two other competitions that we're going to have. So
excellent. Well, we want to thank you guys so much for choosing to be here this morning and spreading the engagement to Tobago SRP officers and all other servicemen and women in Trinidad and Tobago. So would there be a big team from Trinidad coming up for the event as well?
Well, yes. we have officers who will be coming over, and by extension, some senior officers have given the commitment that they would be present to meet and greet officers and persons on the ground. It's a nice social way of reaching out to persons and also to tell Tobago thanks for the enormous support that they would have given us during the election. And we just want to start it, as Mr. Springer would have said, we want to start it from here and to also give a renewed commitment that Tobago will not be left out at any time going forward.
Understood. Well, guys, we want to thank you again for being here and all the success with Aqua Escape. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Chanel Felix, and have a great day.